Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hello everybody, and welcome along to today's video. I'm a little bit late to the party with this video, as it has been a week or two since the rumours were started swirling around, but I just want to give you my thoughts on the rumours that we're going to be having a 60-minute episodes, 10 60-minute episodes for Series 11. It very much feels like the rumour mills are starting to sort of pick up as we're approaching the start of filming. The kind of rumoured filming start date at the moment is the 30th of October. There has been a couple of tweets around saying film has already started. As far as I know, it hasn't. But I think the end of October or the very beginning of November is looking like when we're going to get the start of filming finally. And presumably we'll find out about the new companion pretty soon, because by the time you start filming you've kind of got to know who the companion is, otherwise it's going to leak instantly. But yes, the big rumour from the Daily Mirror, or just the Mirror, I can't even remember their name, a tabloid newspaper in the UK for anybody abroad who doesn't know, who are very much 50-50 on Doctor Who news. It seems half the stuff they absolutely ace and half the stuff is complete rubbish. I mean, maybe that's naturally what you're going to get with them. They keep posting the same article, eventually they'll get it right. And they were rumouring that we'd be getting for Series 11 60-minute episodes. Just 10 of them, but at 60 minutes in length, which would mean overall the series sort of duration would actually be longer. And I think if this does happen, it would be a pretty positive change for the show. It's often felt like there's been episodes where you feel the conclusion has been very rushed. They've sort of built up a big, complicated situation to try and get out of, and then it's all sorted in 2 minutes with a sonic screwdriver and it's all over and done with. The Power of Three, for example, springs to mind there. So I think if you sort of cut it down to 60-minute episodes, then maybe you're just going to kind of give the story a bit more time to breathe. You're able to give a bit more setup to the story, a bit more exposition, and then a bit of a better conclusion to it as well, and a resolution, which I think is something that sometimes Doctor Who struggles with. And I think it would also just kind of streamline the series a little bit more, and then kind of takes away maybe the couple of duds or not so good episodes you get in a series, and you can really put a bit more effort into 10 episodes and 10 great stories, unless you're going to have 2 parts or whatever or something like that. But I think overall this would be a beneficial change, even if it feels like you've got less Doctor Who. In reality, you've got a bit more. So I don't think this is a sort of change to be scared of or anything like that. This is a change to embrace, and I think it would be quite good to just continue the change in the show, with everything changing next year. Add the format to it as well, just to make it even more different than it is at the moment. Of course, there's still the question of whether Chris Chibnall's going to go down the route of a more serialised format, where it's all very much more interlinked stories, where there's a kind of strong story driving throughout the series, rather than just 10 or 9 individual episodes spread through a series. And I personally would prefer the more serialised nature. I've always liked at least the kind of idea that Stephen went with in Series 6 to go for a much more arc-heavy story. It was just let down by the resolution to the arc and the pointless stories slotted in between. So I think if we had a strong storyline kind of going through the whole series, I think it would be a really good beneficial to the show. I've also read a few rumours that kind of contradict this one, is that they may be looking at doing 2 5-episode sort of series, mini-series, rather than just doing a 10-episode run, which probably wouldn't be till autumn next year. There's the possibility they might look to do 2 5-part mini-stories, something I think akin to Torchwood Children of Earth or something like that, where a proper 5-part story rather than 5 individual episodes, what we sort of have seen in other split series in the past. Maybe one airing around sort of Easter time, so through April, May time, and then one more September, October. I think potentially that could be really good news for the show, as it looks highly likely, if we're going to leave a full series until the end of the year, that we're not going to get any Doctor Who until September, October next year, which is going to be a very, very long wait. So I think, even though it doesn't mean we get quite so many sort of episodes in a row, as it were, I think having the series split would probably be of benefit next year. And then maybe if they can pump the production out quick enough, they could possibly look to get a full series back into the spring for 2019. It'd probably be a bit of a stretch, but it might be doable. The other thing worth noting is if they do go for 10 60-minute episodes instead of 12 45-minute episodes, is there, although it's more duration, there's the potential for it to be filmed in a shorter space of time, simply because there's going to be using the same sets more. That's always what takes the extra time, is when you've got 12 episodes, there are potentially 10, 11, 12 completely different settings, locations, and sort of lots of different locations to go to. So if you're going to have slightly less actual stories, then maybe it'll be beneficial and make the sort of process a little bit quicker, just because you don't have to try and find and go to and film at so many different locations. But it's all very hypothetical at the moment. We really don't know anything. As much as Gallifrey Base may say in their spoiler forum, my mate told me this and it's definitely true because he's obviously an insider on Doctor Who, or he worked at the catering on one of the a sort of job they did or something like that. I don't know. But you kind of have to take any rumour with a pinch of salt at this stage, because we've seen so many rumours that have turned out to be completely wrong. Back in 2015 it seemed like 2016 was going to go from having 0 episodes to 90-minute specials, to a full series, to a split series, to Capaldi leaving, to Capaldi staying. It was all over the shop. So any rumour you read up until it's announced, of course you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, it's nice to kind of debate about it and have a think about it, but we just don't really know for sure. I mean, my kind of feeling on it certainly is that I think the Series 11 in the next month will start filming. Whether it's publicised immediately that it's happening, I don't know, but I'm fairly sure that within the next month we will get filming, and hopefully some news about it fairly soon after as well. This does of course mean we'll also get a companion announcement. I'm almost certain before Christmas we'll know who the new companion is, because they're going to have to start filming the show and we're going to have to know to avoid spoilers. Whether we're going to go down the route of 2 companions, I'm not sure. There was the whole thing about Bradley Walsh, which I never really kind of talked about very much on the channel, but that came up a couple of months ago and really has quietened down completely since then, and kind of no one's mentioning it. So my hunch on that is that he'll kind of be a secondary companion, and they'll have a kind of younger companion and he'll be playing the kind of slightly older secondary companion, whatever. I'm not sure what sort of relationship or anything they'll have, but I do think he probably will be involved in the show, but in a kind of almost like a Nardole role. Not doing the same thing, but that amount of screen time, possibly. And then after that, I'm sure inevitably we'll find out all the kind of standard new things about the new Doctor's costume, Jodie's costume. What's it going to be like? I can't wait to see what she's going to be wearing for the new show, for the new series. That's something to really look forward to. Whether there's a new TARDIS interior coming, it seems pretty likely, as they have essentially, with a couple of tweaks, used this interior since the Snowmen in 2012. So it has had a pretty good run at this stage. It was tweaked slightly for Capaldi, but it's still the same set essentially. So I think it would be time to change it up, particularly given that the previous Matt Smith set only did about 2.5 years and then that was it. So I'd be surprised if it doesn't change. I expect that Jodie will get a new sonic screwdriver as well, just to kind of keep changing it up there. I feel like they want to just completely distance themselves from the previous series, not in a negative way, but just to really start the show afresh. And it's clearly what the show needs, with the disappointing viewing figures and general reception to the show, to kind of make it almost a different show. Not, but almost a different show, I think is really good. The one other interesting thing I think that we kind of have absolutely no idea about with Series 11 at the moment is who are the writers going to be. Of course, for the casual fan, they don't really care, or just casual viewer even, I should say, they don't really care. But for us kind of more serious fans of the show, it's going to be fascinating to see what route Chris Chibnall goes down in terms of the writers for the show. There's been the long-standing rumour for about since he was announced back in the start of last year, about the writer's room idea, where he's going to kind of have a selection of writers that are kind of bandy round ideas between each other to try and get a more tight-knit story through the series, and just, I think, create a better overall product for the show. But it's going to be fascinating to see if that does happen, or if not, even if it does, what writers are going to be involved. There's been no indication at all, and I imagine it will come fairly soon. By the time filming starts, you think they'd probably be looking at announcing a couple of writers. I remember for Series 10 last year, it was pretty much in the first couple of weeks of filming that we found out who was writing the first 4 episodes, when we found out the news about Matt Lucas coming back for the new series, which was pretty much as filming began. So I think it's safe to say in the next month as well, we'll probably find out who some of the early writers are. Obviously Chris will do the opener, but you wonder how many more episodes after that he'll do as well. Because that was the thing with both Russell's first series and Steven's first series, is they wrote a huge amount of the episodes, because Russell wrote episodes 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 11, 12 and 13. So that's that's over half the series he wrote. So he really did have a massive impact on that first series, before then in Series 2 letting it kind of spread out across the writers a little bit more. And not quite to the same degree, but still a fairly significant amount with Steven's first series, when he wrote episodes 1, 2, 4, 5, 12 and 13. So still nearly half the series there as well, trying to just stamp their mark on the show. And I imagine Chris will go down a similar sort of route. But obviously if it's a 10-episode series, it'll be fascinating to see if he does end up writing like 6 episodes out of 10, because that would probably be quite a strain on him, particularly if they were much longer episodes as well. So I think the writing situations is also a very, very interesting one. And so as Christmas draws nearer, we're just over 2 months away from Peter Capaldi's final episode, Twice Upon a Time. An episode that I, in equal measure, cannot wait for, and really could wait forever for, just to keep Peter Capaldi as the Doctor for a little bit longer. But then Jodie gloriously will be taking over at Christmas in what is surely going to be a fantastic finale for the 12th Doctor. The extended episode as well, whether it's going to be 70, 75 minutes, something like that. I really hope we do get a feature-length finale to say goodbye to the 12th Doctor, particularly as there's so much going on there, with the first Doctor coming back, Bill coming back, obviously 13's first scene, which sounds like it might be slightly more significant than just your usual 30 seconds at the end of the episode. Rachel Talalay, I believe, had said, minor spoiler alert, that she'd already had to do a sort of a harness and a rig for Jodie Whittaker, which is when you see, like, in the Death in Heaven, the Doctor jumping out of the plane and having to fly down, they're all on wires and everything, and apparently in Twice Upon a Time that Rachel Talalay had to set that up for Jodie Whittaker as well. So does the Doctor regenerate in mid-air, or is Jodie Whittaker more significantly involved in this episode? Because Rachel Talalay has no involvement in Series 11. This has got to be for the Christmas special. So that was a very interesting comment. It was said by her. It wasn't said by a fan. So it does sound like Jodie might be more involved than maybe we think. But there we go, guys. That's just a few quick thoughts on Series 11, on Christmas, on everything that's going on with the show at the moment. Do let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts on having longer episodes in Series 11, potentially less of them, or the idea of a split series? Is that something you'd welcome again? Obviously, it didn't work so well with Series 6, but certainly not Series 7. It was a bit of a disaster. So would that be something you welcome back to the show? Also, who you think is going to be the companion? And just any other thoughts about the new show to come up, or the Christmas special as well. I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say. But other than that, remember to like this video, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you again very, very soon for another video. Goodbye!